Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Seffield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, if you're new to the show, welcome. What we do is we take a look at some of the movies coming out on Friday, and we will pick said movie, an honor movie, with a top 5 list honoring a director, actor, actress, genre, what have you, and we'll make a top 5 list according to that. The cool thing about the show is that it's live, so we have no idea what the hell's going to come out of our mouths, and we don't know each other's lists. And so it's a fantastic show, guys. So it's the definitive top 5 podcast, like I tell you guys every single week, because it is. We work our asses off on this for you guys. So, Brian, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well, but it seems like something's in the air. I mean, you're wearing something on top of your head, so I can only assume that's what we're doing this week.
Yes. This week, in honor of the wide release of Patriots Day, we are going to be doing our top 5 films set in Boston.
This is actually a double one because I didn't even think about it.
Live by Night.
Yeah, I don't think Live by Night's in Boston, but Ben Affleck is in it, and he's like the Boston King. So, this is gonna be really fascinating because when I was looking at movies that were set in Boston, for the most part, all of them were modern movies. Like, I looked at this list, and I was like, because when I was thinking of my list, I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna put that, and that. I just want to see for reference, like, who's got like a Boston film set in Boston list. I looked at it, I was like, these are all my picks. Like, I guess some of the best Boston movies are the most modern ones. So for me personally, I've never really been to Boston, so I don't know how it's supposed to look or anything. But from what I have learned from like such films as like Manchester by the Sea this year, if you can really kind of capture the East Coast and kind of like that like rustic kind of like grounded reality type of way where you feel like you're a part of that town, or you feel like you're a part of that bar or a community or whatever. I feel like that's the most important thing when you're set in any location, but especially in Boston, when you feel like it's like a communal like city where like everyone feels like they know each other and whatnot. And that's what I kind of want out of my film set in Boston. So Brian, what about you? Like, when you see a film that's going to be set in Boston, like, what do you look for specifically to capture that authenticity?
It's like you said, the corruption, the bars, the women, the accents, just like, I feel like movies that take place in Boston, there's so many neighborhoods in Boston that like every neighborhood feels divine and connected. Like, that's the thing whenever you watch any of these Boston movies, like everyone feels like they know each other. It's because of these neighborhoods. Like, they're all well-rounded and stuff. And that's the thing I love about movies that take place in Boston, because of the family element and the friends element, the friendship and stuff. Like, when you have films saying like New York or Los Angeles or Chicago or any other big city, sometimes you get that, but in Boston, you seem to always get that. And that's what I look at in the Boston movie. Plus, I love seeing actors who are not from Boston do fake Boston accents and to see if they're good or bad, and try not to laugh at them because, it's hard not to laugh. Let's be honest. Be honest with me, Chase. Be honest.
Okay, listen, as someone that lives in the South right now, which I hope is not for long, I don't know how Boston people speak, but I have seen interviews of like, people from Boston, and you kind of can get a hint of what the accent's like. But you're right. Like, if you go overboard with it just seems too goofy. And like, that's the thing with these movies is that, hopefully all the ones I picked, well, except for one of them, the accents portrayed in the movie don't seem like forced or like unnatural, unfitting. They seem like they fit in well with the movie enough to where if I am from Texas or if someone's from like Oregon, they could watch the movie and go, that's probably how Boston people speak. So, and since we're basically doing this one over Boston, this pretty much opens up the gates for every major city to do a top 5 list, especially movies set in Texas. If we were honoring Hell or High Water right now, that's what we would definitely do, and that would have been an interesting list. But we're doing Boston right now, so Brian's gonna get his wish, and we're gonna do something on his side of the town, and we'll definitely do something in the South eventually. But yeah, without any further ado, guys, let's get this started. Sorry, there's no lower thirds. Google Hangout is being a bitch right now, or being a bitch all week. So just bear with us. We'll just announce the number and stuff, and you guys know how the drill works. It's pretty much the same people that watch the show, and we fucking love you guys. So, Brian, without any further ado, what is your number 5 favorite film set in Boston?
My number 5 is the only comedy I put on my list, and that's Ted.
We have the same number 5. Guys, I don't think we've started off like this, like on the same page in a long time. Hopefully, Brian and I have pretty much the same thought process when it comes to this. I'm just going to say my piece and I'll let Brian kind of go because he knows Boston better than I do. The reason why I put Ted on my list is because as a film that's set in Boston, I think it does a good job. But it also plays along with the accents and the people, and they kind of make fun of it and kind of poke fun in kind of like a light manner, but it never seems like it's offensive or anything. When you have Marky Mark delivering that Boston accent, it just totally works for the comedy, and Ted having a Boston accent works for the comedy and stuff. So it's a nice, fun, fluffy film to put in this category that pokes fun of its people, its city, but never feels like it's, intruding on that culture. It just feels it's kind of like a nice, funny homage spoof or whatever to the city. But yeah, I really enjoy Ted for what it is, and plus Brian is wearing the cap for it at the end of the first one. The climax takes place at, was it Fenway Park? Yeah, so Brian, why is Ted on your list?
When I went to the Red Sox game 2 years ago, I went the night before I saw Ted 2, and I sat and I could be wrong. I sat across from where Ted, spoiler alert, Ted fell from the ground after being chased by Giovanni Ribisi. So I thought that was really, really cool. I love Ted. I think it's one of the best comedies of the decade so far. I mean, that was a really tough year for comedies because that and 21 Jump Street came out the same year. I love 21 Jump Street a lot more than this one, but this is still a great comedy. It captures Boston very well. I mean, that's how everyone acts. They go to their normal jobs and they do their normal stuff. They go to the bar, they go to the pack, and then they go to their cast. Like, that's what they do. I'm sorry. Listen, if we have fans from Boston, I don't mean to offend you. I'm sorry. That's not my intention at all. But this movie is great. It's charming. It's funny. Seth MacFarlane's directorial debut. Great, great film. I love it a lot. And even like Seth MacFarlane's Boston accent is very funny. I mean, just seeing the bear talk with a Boston accent. When they do the cocaine, he's like, I thought that was only for people in Florida. So yeah, Ted is my number 5.
Well, and the cool thing about his accent is basically it's Peter Griffin with a Boston accent. That's what it sounds like. But there's nothing wrong with it. So yeah, no. I'm pretty sure from this point on in the episode, Brian can make fun of people from Boston all he wants because he's actually, closer to that area than I am. I would look like a prick if I started making fun of people because I live in the South and I know that the stereotypes in Texas are way more comical than the ones in Boston. So I'm not going to say anything. All right. So moving on to number 4, what you got?
The Town.
Okay.
Amazing crime film. My favorite film from Ben Affleck. This is my favorite film that he's directed. I love this film a lot. I mean, another Fenway Park film. I mean, the last sequence takes place at Fenway Park. One of the greatest scenes in like a stadium, arena, building, whatever. I mean, they robbed Fenway Park. I mean, come on. It's awesome. And I remember when I first watched the movie, I'm like, I've been there. I was there. I was in that spot. I've been to that store that they robbed from that particular food stand that they robbed from. I'm just like, I was in there, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is great. It's well directed, it's well crafted, it's fast paced, it's energetic. I think it's one of the best crime thrillers of the last 10 years. It's a beautifully done film. I think it should have gotten the Best Picture nomination. Sure, Jeremy Renner got a Best Supporting nomination, but that was really the only award thing it got that entire time. Like, it didn't even get a picture, director, script. I love The Town. I think it's a brilliantly done movie. It's engaging. It made me more scared of nuns because of that fucking horror nun mask. It's just a terrific film, and it introduced me to Rebecca Hall. So meow, giddy up. Yeah, The Town is my number 4. I don't really have much to say about it, but I can tell you guys right now, if you haven't checked this movie out, do yourself a favor and check it out. It's Ben Affleck's best directorial effort, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass, but I will uh, what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say, but oh, that's what I was gonna say was that it doesn't matter if the town was nominated for a lot or not because Argo won Best Picture and that was his next one. So it pretty much came back in full force with that one. But yeah, I will pass on that one. My number four, I'm gonna go with one that came out. Um, was it last? It was last year. No, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, 2015, right? Black Mass. It came out
Yeah.
2015. Okay.
Hmm.
I really love gangster films, and I love like just the grittiness and the dirtiness of Boston, and how crime mob lord bosses or whatever kind of use it to their advantage and like hiding these like seedy underground bars and whatever. I don't know. I love that type of environment. But I really enjoyed Black Mass quite a bit. I felt a little disappointed in the story, but overall, I love the setting of the film. It kind of adds like that kind of disturbingly like grounded quality because people like Whitey Bulger were walking around on those streets, and it's kind of scary to know that someone that terrifying was walking around. And you felt the presence of Johnny Depp walking through the streets of Boston. You felt his presence when he was even really intimate in like a home or something. So his performance is great. Joel Edgerton is really great. I just think it's a nice kind of semi biopic on Whitey Bulger. It's not like I said the best thing, but it's definitely the best thing Johnny Depp has touched in a long time, and it's definitely true to form. And I just and also one of my favorite like guilty pleasure like plot devices is when mobsters like are in Boston or any type of East Coast city and they dump bodies in rivers or dump bodies in oceans. I don't know. It's just that's like a classic like gangster move. I mean, hell, I watched Dexter for 8 seasons. I love that shit. So, yeah, if you guys have not seen Black Mass, I think that's a really good entry. And Johnny Depp's performance is creepy, disgusting, unsettling, disturbing, whatever you want to call it, and it's definitely true to form for him. And it's a nice film set in Boston. So, Brian, I don't think this is on your list.
It's not.
There you go.
I liked Black Mass. I enjoyed it for what it was. I was a little let down by it because I expected a lot more from it. But hey, Johnny Depp killed it. He was amazing as White Bulger. You know, I would have given him a nomination. I think he should have gotten an Oscar nomination for this movie. And you know what was so cool? I remember reading some articles, and when they were filming the movie, people were actually legitimately terrified of seeing him, even though they knew it was Johnny Depp. They were like, "Oh my god, that looks just like White Bulger." I'm actually really scared. So it was a well done movie. It could have been a little better, but hey, because of Johnny Depp, I do highly recommend it. It's quite good. And that dinner table scene, mwah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm actually kind of disappointed he wasn't at least nominated that year. He wasn't going to win by any stretch of the imagination. That would be it was Leo's year, obviously, but I still think that he should have been at least nominated or at least acknowledged because his career is kind of tanky right now. I think that nomination would have kind of really helped his career, and he deserved it. It's not like I'm just throwing him a bone. He actually really did deserve it. All right, so Brian, moving on to number 3.
Number 3 is probably a little higher on your list, Mystic River.
I don't have it anywhere on my list.
Really? I'm really surprised by that.
Really, I was actually it was either Black Mass or Mystic River, but I gotta be honest, I haven't seen Mystic River in a long time, and Black Mass was the freshest. So
Got you. I got you, fam. Mystic River to me is the best film Clint Eastwood's ever directed. This
I agree.
it's you got Sean Penn, Kevin Bacon, Tim Robbins, Lawrence Fishburne, Laura Linney, Mama. Um, it's 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 not an easy film to watch. It's really hard to watch. I can tell you guys that right now, but it's really, really well done. This was when Clint Eastwood was like on fire with everything he was directed because the year after this, $1 Million Baby came out. Obviously, he won director, and that film won Best Picture. So it was a good time for Clint Eastwood. Yeah, if you guys don't know what this is about, Sean Penn's daughter gets assassinated, and it's heartbreaking. And they just try to find who murdered her, and it's intense. Like, it's an intense crime thriller. You never expected Clint Eastwood to helm a project like this, and he nailed it on the coffin. Everyone's accents were great. Sean Penn's, Kevin Bacon's, Tim Robbins, the women, Lawrence Fishburne's. Everyone's accent was terrific. And this was I think the first big film that Emmy Rossum, Fiona Gallagher was in, so that was pretty cool. It's a really it's a really haunted movie, and Clint Eastwood actually did the score for this film, which was really cool. So it's a terrifically done film. The last 20 minutes alone are insane. The last act is beyond crazy. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to die. You don't know who's going to live. You don't even know who killed her. And when you find out who killed her, you're just like, what? So, Mystic River, phenomenal film. Easily the best film Clint Eastwood's ever done. I highly recommend it. It's hard to watch, especially if you're a parent or if you lost a sibling or whatnot. It's my number 3 film set in Boston. It's just a beautifully done film.
What do you think Boston being set in Boston adds a certain, extra layer to it, or do they could have gone to
Absolutely.
any city or what?
No, Boston was what made it work. I think Boston is what made it work.
Okay, well, I'm just curious, because I'm curious at all of our choices as to why we chose this one particularly for Boston. My number 3, I'm gonna go with your 4. I'm gonna go with The Town. This was the first Ben Affleck directed film I saw in theaters. Now I saw it Gone Baby Gone, but I did not see it in theaters. I saw it when I rented it, and obviously that's not on my list because I chose The Town instead. But The Gone Baby Gone is also a great movie set in Boston. That would be in the honorable mentions. But as far as The Town goes, I had never seen a movie in theaters that was that thrilling and engaging from start to finish. And I love the fact that Boston was used because every single robbery that they did or every single job that they did, I felt like it was more intimate and more kind of grittier instead of like doing like a traditional like big city or something. I don't know. I felt like I really got like I said, really get to know the people behind the robberies emotionally and whatnot. And I loved everyone's accents. Of course, Ben Affleck nails it. Jeremy Renner and all that stuff. It just, I don't know. That was just like the perfect setting for that type of story. And especially when you're going to rob Fenway Park. I mean, obviously, you kind of have to have it in Boston if that's your main heist point. But that was also a really thrilling, engaging scene. It was just white knuckled. You just didn't know what was going to happen. And that was the movie that kind of rejuvenated my love for heist movies. I've always been a fan of heist movies, but they've been kind of like iffy throughout the years. But The Town was the one to really kind of revitalize that, and I think Boston was the perfect place for that. Because, like what Brian said, is that since Boston's so communal and you feel like everyone knows each other. When Brian said like, "Oh, I remember that place. I remember that place." That's kind of cool that you could shoot a movie, that's on that big of a scale budget wise and stuff, and like you feel like it was made in your backyard or something. So yeah, The Town is my number 3. So our top 2, I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now. We have the same number 1 and we have the same number 2. I think we're gonna have a clean sweep, and we're actually gonna have three slots that are the same out of the 5, which is the closest we've ever gotten to a perfect list. Now, I could be wrong though, because I'm second guessing myself already. We either have the same number 1 or number 2, or we have it switched. Because I already know which 2 Brian picked. Now, I did write my list right here, a movie set in Boston. It's very possible you could have gone with something else, but I kind of have a feeling we have the same one. So, Brian, what is your number 2?
I think this is going to be really interesting because I know that we do have the same top 2, but I think it might be reversed. This was really hard for me. I love these 2 films so fucking much. Like, they're 2 of my all-time favorite films. They're 2 films that inspired me to become a filmmaker. I had to go with the one that I've seen the most, the one I appreciate the most. My number 2 is Good Will Hunting.
Yep. Okay.
Good Will Hunting is one of the best written films I've ever seen in my life. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's script is nothing short of phenomenal. Gus Van Sant, this is the best thing he's ever directed. I love the way this film was directed. I mean, this is an example of communal Boston. This is a great example of communal Boston because Will Hunting, Ben Affleck's character, everyone knows each other. Everyone knows who everyone is, where they're from, where they live, what they do, what they sound like. They know everything. Everything. They go to bars a lot. They go to parties. They have a good time. They work at a normal job. Um, and then it it's just very relatable. Like the character Will Hunt. We've brought up this movie numerous times on the show, and we'll bring it up again. Will Hunting, he's a smart guy, and he doesn't want to take it granted. Like he doesn't want to show off that he's talented. And it's like what Ben Affleck's character says. Like if you ever come back in 20 years, I'll kill you. I will kill you. Um, and then you get the incredible performances from Matt Damon, of course, Ben Affleck, Minnie Driver, and Robin Williams. Definitely Robin Williams. One of my favorite supporting actor performances of all time. One of the best performances from a comedic actor I've ever seen. The scene where he tackles him, he's like, if you ever talk about my wife again, I will fucking murder you. I will slaughter you. Like that scene, those hairy arms. Oh, Jesus Christ. So intense. And that movie's 20 years old now. That's insane. That movie's 20 years old, which means next year I turn 20. Yikes. Oh, my God.
Oh, shut your fucking mouth. I turned 27 in about a week and a half, and it scares the shit out of me, so I don't want to hear it.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does, but I'm not ready to stop being a teen. I'm kind of terrified. But anyways, I digress. Good Will Hunting is it's just a brilliant film. And if you guys have not seen it, do yourself a favor and check it out. It's one of the best films ever made, one of the best scripts ever made, and it's really amazing that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, who were both very young at the time, I think they were your age. I think they were your age, Chase. They won the Oscar. That's awesome. So yeah, Good Will Hunting is my number 2. Like I said, this was really hard, but my number 1, I've seen more, I appreciate more, but I do love the crap out of Good Will Hunting a lot.
Okay, so this is why I did the opposite, and I will explain why. My number 2 is The Departed, and the reason why I chose this one over my number 1, which I've already ruined it, I told you we're switched. The Departed to me is a good gangster film, but it doesn't really capture Boston as realistically as number 1. It's the closest to number 1, that's why it's number 2, but number 1 captures it the closest. But with The Departed, I felt like it is very Hollywoodized in terms of like, yes, that set looks nice, and it does have Boston qualities. It feels very communal. You can see they're in these, shady ass bars. You can see that they're, in churches. You can see that they're in these crappy apartments and stuff. I realize all that. But it doesn't reach number 1, but it is the closest out of or it is one of my favorites and closest out of the 4 I've mentioned so far. It kind of has like the same kind of feel as The Town in Black Mass, but I like the Departed a little bit more in terms of just pace and style. And come on, it's fucking Scorsese. I just saw Silence 2 nights ago, and the guy's still on fire. And The Departed was 10 years ago, which still blows my mind. He won his Oscar for it. You have all the performances locking up and syncing together with Jack Nicholson and Leonardo DiCaprio, Marky Mark, and Matt Damon. It's just a really kind of riveting tale of cat and mousery to see who's the fucking rat. Am I the fucking rat? I don't know. Are you the fucking rat? And to see how far Leo can go into the crime world led by Jack Nicholson before he gets his ass capped. But no, it's just a really awesome gangster film. It's a remake of Infernal Affairs, which I believe is Korean or Japanese. I forgot, but it is one of those. And it's I think it's funny that Scorsese is one of the best directors of all time, but he wins his directing Oscar finally for a remake and not a movie like Taxi Driver or Raging Bull. But whatever. He will always be fantastic in my eyes. But yeah, I love The Departed. Very fascinating. But Brian will tell you why he likes it as his number 1, and I'll tell you why I like Good Will Hunting as my number 1. So that is my number 1. But Brian, I'll let you go first since I just talked about The Departed. Please reflect back to me why it's higher on your list and why it's more important to you.
The Departed is another one of my all-time favorite films. I love crime. It's my favorite genre in film. Scorsese is my second favorite filmmaker working today. I'm seeing Silence, by the way, this weekend. I'm excited. I'm kind of scared. I haven't seen a film that long, like with that runtime in forever since Boyhood.
Mhm.
Um, so that's gonna be quite fascinating. You know, this film was just quite interesting because obviously everyone knows Scorsese for doing a lot of gangster films before The Departed. Before The Departed, all of his gangster films were set in New York. They were all set in New York. So this was something different because he stepped outside of his game and did someone in Boston. So it's kind of special for Scorsese's filmography and something outside of his forte because he never did a film in Boston before. Never. He's done films like in Los Angeles and like suburban areas, but never in Boston. Never in Boston. So this was a new film for him. Yes, it's a remake, but it is well done. Sure, it's not Scorsese's best film ever, but I love it so much because great ensemble. Everyone's terrific. And yeah, you don't know who the rat is. You don't know what's going on. And it's really great. Everyone is just phenomenal here. DiCaprio, Damon, Nicholson, Wahlberg, Sheen, Baldwin, Farmiga, Anthony Anderson. Everybody kills it in this movie. And it's really just a beautifully done story. Yes, it's all over the place. Sure, sometimes it could be all over the place, but honestly, it's a compelling story. It's engaging. It's brilliant. It's clever. It's smart. Fucking firefighters. Fucking rescuing trees from fucking rescue kids from trees. Fucking knacks. Get out of here. You fucking cock. Like, just, I love it. I just love it all. The Departed to me is a special film. It was, I think, I saw this film for the first time, like immediately after I saw Goodfellas for the first time. So it was something very special. Like I was doing a whole like big Scorsese marathon where I watched like Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, The Departed, The Aviator, Raging Bull, Casino. Like I was binge watching all of his films at one point. And this was such a great time for me. The Departed is just a great film. I've been to so many locations for this movie, like the headquarters of the film, the park, obviously, the Capitol. Mm, I I saw the building where on the roof that's where the final sequence happened. I tried to find Matt Damon's apartment building. I couldn't find that. It was a little complicated, but I went to one of the bars. I saw the store from the opening scene. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. I just adored the party. And like I said, I love Good Will Hunting a lot. They're like tied for me, but I've seen The Departed more times. So that's why it's number one for me. And yeah, sure, it may not showcase Boston as well as Good Will Hunting, but to be quite honest, a lot of Irish criminals are from Boston. We never really followed Irish gangsters beforehand. So like that's why in Black Mask and like The Town and I don't know, The Heat, there's Irish gangsters. Like those are really what are in Boston. So that's pretty awesome because New York has Italian gangsters. Here in Boston, we have Irish gangsters. So that's pretty awesome. I love The Departed. It's my favorite film set in Boston, tied with Go Will Hunting. But hey, The Departed I've seen more times. I love it. Go ahead, Chase. Talk about Good Will Hunting.
I mean, I'm not going to talk about it for long. The reason why I put this as my number one is I've never seen a film in my life about Boston where it literally shows every corner of that city. Whether you're talking about Robin Williams' office, or you talk about the school that Matt Damon works for, you talk about the construction yard that Ben Affleck works at, or you talk about the broken down neighborhood and home that they live in, or you talk about the kind of nice bars that they go to, or you talk about the really beautiful park that him and Rob Williams have that poignant speech at. Like it kind of shows you a little bit of everywhere, and you felt like you were there. I've always felt like I was there following these characters and hanging out with them and being buddies and whatnot. And that goes to the charisma of the characters played by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. You always felt like you were a part of the group. You never felt like you were awkwardly peeking in on someone's life. You felt like you were a part of the gang. And I loved the culture of Boston. Just like I said, that awesome bonding like community experience that Boston kind of provides. And I think as a more realistic, grounded look at Boston, I think Good Will Hunting does it best. And plus, it's a great film all around. When you talk about a really great like drama just filled with some great performances done by the late great Robin Williams and written very well and impeccably, it's just one of those movies that you could pop in at any time and you can enjoy and appreciate for the performances and the writing, but also just feel really good inside after the end of the movie and just be like, yeah, that was a good ass time. And you might even go, you know what? That was a great film set in Boston. So that is why it's my number one, is because I feel like it was the most authentic, grounded take on Boston, showing you different aspects of the city. So what about you guys? What is your favorite film set in Boston? We definitely have a lot in common, that's for sure. Yeah, these are pretty much it. I gotta be honest with you guys, like even with our honorable mentions, like every one of these movies like all sound the same. Like it's pretty ridiculous, and they all have pretty much the same actors too. So yeah, speaking of honorable mentions, The Fighter, Spotlight, Mystic River, Gone Baby Gone, and you know what? I'll put Shutter Island on there because I fucking like that movie. Brian, what about you? What are some of the ones that just just didn't make your list, but you really appreciate?
The Fighter. I fucking love The Fighter. Shutter Island, fantastic Scorsese film. Gone Baby Gone, great directorial debut. Spotlight. I know a lot of people find it overrated. As someone who loves journalism, I thought it was terrific. And also, everyone's Boston accent in that movie, spot on, terrific. The Heat, incredibly funny. At first I wasn't fond of Melissa McCarthy's Boston accent, but then over time I found it to be quite amusing. And the last movie I'll mention is The Company Man, which is an underrated Ben Affleck film. Ben Affleck, Kevin Costner, Chris Cooper, Tommy Lee Jones. Fantastic movie. So good. So good. People, you gotta check that movie out if you haven't seen it. It's very relatable. It's very important because, if you work for the financial field, it's very important. Check it out. That's it.
Would you say that Ben Affleck is like the king of Boston films at this point?
He is. He is. He
Yeah.
is.
No, it's amazing. Speaking of Spotlight, though, I gotta say this now. I don't think it should have won Best Picture. Yeah, I know, controversial to say, right? I know a lot of people love it.
It wasn't my pick. It wasn't my pick, but
My pick was The
it was
Revenant.
gonna win.
Yeah, I know. My pick was The Revenant. I didn't want Spotlight to win, but I get it. It's a good movie, but you know what's really funny is when Terrence and I did our Oscar live coverage of that thing, throughout the entire ceremony, I was convinced they were going to go Revenant because Alejandro won for directing, Lubeski won for cinematography. I was like, oh shit, is it going to win the big prize? And then they throw it to Spotlight, and then Terrence called it the entire night. He was like, it's probably going to be Spotlight. I was like, no, it's not, Terrence. And then he's just like, it's probably going to be Spotlight. And I was like, God damn it. So, yeah, no. Spotlight's a good movie. I just don't think it should have won. But yeah, Brian, I don't have any dishonorable mentions because I don't watch that many films set in Boston. Do you have any ones that just kind of are terrible?
I can't think of any that are bad. If I had to say my least favorite, it's probably Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon.
Ugh.
That's probably my least favorite one. But what's really cool about that is that the original ending in the movie, they were just at a Red Sox game and they didn't win. But then when they won the World Series, they had to reshoot the ending. I think that's very cool. I think that's pretty cool.
Sure, you're giving that movie a lot more credit than you should.
It's okay. It's whatever.
I guess that was one of the last films of Jimmy Fallon's acting career before he got shot in the foot. So, yeah. But what say you guys? What are some of your favorite and least favorite films set in Boston that you can think of? Comment in the place where my face. Let me know. And Brian, what are we doing next week?
You know what? I don't even know.
Whoops. Well, the movie's coming out. Look, okay, I'll tell you what. Since this is live, I'm going to put a lot of pressure on Brian. We're going to do this live. We're actually going to create the list right now. Brian, on the 20th, we have Triple X3, we have Split, and we have The Founder. Is there anything we can do?
Well, we already honored Michael Keaton, so we can't do that. Triple X. We already did 3 calls, so no. Vin Diesel doesn't really have a career, so no.
Nice. There you
go. Sorry, Vin. I love you, man, but sorry.
Okay, so what if we did something ballsy? What if we did something that would challenge people to maybe think differently of our show and our taste in movies? What if we did top 5 M. Night films?
But he only has like 5 good films.
I mean, then I guess it'll be interesting to see where the ranking is. I don't know. Like, what do you think?
Hmm. I'm thinking. I'm really thinking. You know, if James McAvoy had a bigger career, we would honor him, but he really, to be quite honest, doesn't. Um. Hmm.
And we're keeping this all in, by the way. I know we're still rolling, but we're doing this. We're creating the list right now for you guys.
um. Hmm. Man, fuck.
Maybe
Wait.
top 5 extreme sports movies in honor of Triple
Extreme
X.
sports.
Basically, Triple X1 and Triple X2 will be on the list, and that's it. Oh, and Extreme Ops. You guys remember that shitty movie?
Wait, what company is behind the founder again?
The founder would be Harvey Weinstein, I believe.
Is there any good Weinstein Company films?
Fucking yeah, we had Sing Street come out this past year, and we had Lion. That's
Let's
2.
do Weinstein Company films.
Okay, see that got Brian out of his funk because I said Sing Street.
Of course you had to. Ha, funk.
No, and what's interesting about Sing Street is I wish Harvey Weinstein would push that more instead of Lion, but whatever.
You damn idiot. Get off
Listen.
your fucking old ass and promote that movie more, you fucking pleb.
Listen, I like Lion, but I think Sing Street should take its place.
I haven't seen Lion yet. I can't comment.
Just to double check, since we're doing this live, and I'm gonna keep this rolling because we're not professional. I just want to make double check, but I'm like positive the founder is Harvey Weinstein. Hold on, folks. How's everyone's day going? You guys doing pretty good? All right. Who's releasing this bad? Hey, you guys want to look up facts about the founder? All right. Yeah, it is distributed by the Weinstein Company. So guess what, guys? We doing the top 5 Harvey Weinstein movies, woo. And I believe Sing Street is Harvey Weinstein, right?
Yes, Weinstein Company. It is.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So there you go, guys. It took us a whole 5 minutes, but we did it. So top 5 Harvey Weinstein films, which means we're going to have a lot of Oscar Beatty films because that's all he does. So it's going to be filled with awards winners and probably awards duds. So it'll be very interesting to see what we put on our list for sure. And I'll bet you ass that Brian will put Sing Street on that list, even though it just came out a year ago. So
of course I will.
Yeah. So Brian, are you excited for that episode?
Yeah, I'm looking at a list of a bunch of films. I already have a feeling of what your number one's going to be because I didn't realize that film was distributed by Weinstein. So,
interesting. I'm gonna have to look up that list after we get done recording. So, yeah, I'm excited to kind of just refresh my memory and look at the list. So, that will be next week, guys. Top 5 Harvey Weinstein movies. So, Brian, before we go, where can the peeps find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at BrianSuts98 and on YouTube at Brian Sutfield.
That's right. And you can find me at Real Chase Lee. Subscribe to the YouTube page, follow, like, share it around, and let people know this is the definitive top 5 podcast. This has been Film Set in Boston. And next week, Harvey Weinstein, we're coming after you crazy bastard. I don't know how to end this. All right. We'll see you guys later.